Hey there, Broniacs. Welcome back to Brons Over Brains. I'm your man, Bronson Layton, of course, and guys, at long last, it is great to see you. I know it's been a couple of months since I uploaded something, until quite recently, our 2-year anniversary vlog, which I hope you guys enjoyed. So today, guys, we're gonna get back to business. And today, even though it may be past the end of Autism Acceptance Month by the time this video is released, I want to get in more depth with autism stories. And by that, we are going to hear more contributions from people who want to share their life stories, what they've overcome, and so on and so forth. And the very person that we're going to talk to today is none other than the man holding this camera right here. Ta-da! I bet you guys weren't expecting this. You guys remember Travis, right? He contributed to our How to Deal with Bullies vlog. We met him in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and quite recently, he even contributed to our latest vlog, the 2-year anniversary one. He mentioned being the best version of yourself. Oh yeah, that was where I put the spoiler alert on it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, in the 2-year anniversary, I wanted to give someone who may not be the best version they can be, how to be the best version despite little setbacks, either from the universe itself or personal decisions.
And so tonight, Broniacs, I'm just going to be here to introduce you, or technically reintroduce you to Travis. And I really think you will benefit from listening to what this man has to say, because what he has in store, it could change someone's life. So, like I said, we need to hear more stories like his. So I'm going to let him take it away. And I hope you Broniacs enjoy.
Hello, Brons Over Brains. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I am Travis Whitworth. I've been on the channel. I was actually a fan at first, but then I became a part of like a family to it. I've been in 3 videos. Most recent is the 2-year anniversary, the tips on how to handle a bully video, and the Chattanooga one. This video has been in the making for a while because me and Bronson have went back and forth about it. Since I live 2 states up, it was very difficult to pull off, especially when life puts roadblocks in your path. But as the title suggests, it's a story of redemption for an autistic person. Before I get into my fall and rise, I want to give a little backstory, because I've kind of glossed over it in the Chattanooga one. And what I'm about to say is not just because you grow up in a bad household, it's not an excuse to act like a fool, but it's something you can't ignore either, despite what a lot of people go through. So without further ado, let me tell you who I am and what I've done. Okay, so I was born June 20th, 1997. I was raised primarily by my grandmother and grandfather for a good majority of my life. The story of how I got to be raised by them varies depending on who you ask. I was told by my mom that she gave me up willingly. Another story says that my mom was homeless and was living in a box, and my grandmother found me in said box. So yeah, let's just say due to not the best circumstances, I was raised by my grandparents. Now they weren't bad. My nana had a lot of let's just say bad history, so in order to to, I guess, felt the need to protect me from it, I was isolated. Not sheltered as in like I couldn't go out and have friends, but just that I felt like I was cut off from the world. And that in turn made me feel like I didn't belong. I always felt like an outcast because I wasn't allowed to have sleepovers. If my friends came over, they couldn't spend the night. And my grandfather worked all the time, so I never had... He was a good father figure, but he was just not there as much as he could have been. So due to feeling isolated and feel like I didn't have a place in the world, I got angry. I was just mad all the time, and I didn't know how to process that because my grandmother was just one of those people that she doesn't have empathy. She's not empathetic, and that's not to say she didn't care. It was obvious she loved me, but like I said in the Chattanooga video, she went about my autism the wrong way. See, it's already bad enough that I didn't know how to process emotion, but given that I'm autistic and I'm on the spectrum, not only do I know how to process it, I don't know how to process it like a quote-unquote normal person. So with being mad, I was a hothead and I had a temper. I can't tell you how big the folder I have from my old elementary middle school is for ISS, for letting my temper get the best of me some days. It's went on for 15 years. All I remember for the first 15 years of my life was angry and mad because I didn't understand I thought there was something wrong with me. Like, I remember going to the therapist's office just thinking I was some kind of a lab rat. Like, I didn't know how to be human, if that makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't happy. Since I was isolated, I kind of escaped to fictional worlds. I am a big fan of the MCU and Star Wars, pretty much just a geek in general. So instead of learning how to, balance a checkbook or how to drive a car, because I didn't think I was meant to, I focused on how does Spider-Man swing from walls, or how do you fix an X-Wing. I truly believed I was not supposed to be an adult or just a human in general. That wasn't until July 8th in 2012 when I got a call from my nana. I was staying at my mom's house, saying that my grandfather had an aneurysm, which not only sucks because he was the closest thing I had to a dad, but 3 days earlier he took me to see The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, anger and hate was all I felt, but when you see the man that raised you for 15 years be hooked up to a lot of machines, yeah, something happened. And it was a good something. It went from being mad to a sense of duty, because, this man was told every day, every time his son came home, he either picked a fight, he cursed out a teacher. I wasn't a good son. But despite that, he still worked a lot, put food on my plate, presents on my birthday and Christmas. I felt obligated to be better. So yeah, on June 26, 2012, I made a promise to my grandfather that I'd be better. In fact, we went to this restaurant called Top of the River. It's located on the top of a river, original. I remember looking down at the water. We would write notes on balloons when someone would pass away in my family. We would write notes on balloons and then release them. And mine said, word for word, "I'm sorry I wasn't the best son that you deserved. And I promise from here on out, I will be better." At the time, me and my nana were moving, and we went to a new school. So, new identity, fresh start, my second chance. I didn't know how to be a good person because I was taught, or not really taught, I just didn't like people at first. So I started doing little things. I started holding doors, asking people how they were, and it eventually got to where I didn't do it because I promised Steve. I did it because I liked the feeling of making someone's day brighter. I did about as okay as I could have, because even though my school life was different, my home wasn't. I had to help Nana a lot with dealing with that my grandfather was gone. It wasn't easy because, like I said, she's not empathetic, so she can't show emotion very well. I never talked about my mom a minute ago, but that's because let's just say she never failed at making me feel like I was a mistake. I remember talking to her one day saying how I felt like an outcast and I didn't want to feel like this anymore. Knowing that she's a mom, you would think, she'd hug me, comfort me, and say, I love you, it's okay. No, this woman said it was my fault for feeling like an outcast. But back to the new school, I actually liked school life for the most part. I was making, I guess you can call them friends. I don't really talk to them anymore, but we'll get to that in a minute. I actually got an award a couple of times for good citizenship. I was actually very happy. I had people I thought I could call family and friends. However, just with most things, when there's a lot of good things, there's a lot of bad things in the work. I've mentioned before how much I admire Bronson for this channel and what he's trying to do. He's trying to help people who are different succeed. I had a similar dream like that in high school, but I cowered out. And here's why. And what I'm about to say may offend Bronson, so I apologize for this in advance. I was wanting to promote autism awareness. For school one year, I was talking to one of my ROTC cadets, because I wasn't an ROTC. Now this cadet was high ranking. I don't remember how high, but never forget what he said. He looked at me in the eye and said, nobody cares about what some autistic has to say. So yeah, going back to what I said, that's actually when things started to, that's when my fall happened. It was weird because I respected this man in such high regard. He had the ranking, the medals, all of it, and to hear this side of him, I wouldn't say it hindered me, not yet. I was still, like I said, I started small. I went from holding doors to talk to people to, I actually talked a lot of classmates out of suicide, because they were all thinking that I was there for a lot. I was a shoulder to cry on. Like I said, him saying that was the start of my fall, because one of my classmates had a little brother. The little brother found out he was diagnosed with autism, so he came to me. We were talking, and I said, if you need a mentor or a big brother-like person, I can always be there for you. If you want, you can have your mom or someone bring you over, and I could help you learn how to deal with it. The older sister didn't like this. She didn't like that her little brother came to me instead of her. So what happened is, let's just say when I was at school, the police were called, and she made it seem like I was trying to do stuff you shouldn't do with children. And that's when old habits started to come back. I started to feel angry and resentful. But I kept trying to push it down, focus on the good things. Except over time, it kept getting worse and worse, because she was spreading that around. Even the teachers were pulling me out of the classroom saying, hey, I don't want you sitting near her because you tried to do this with a brother. And the worst part was I couldn't explain myself. Like, nobody wanted to look at my messages. No one wanted to listen to my side. So that's when I started to get resentful. And it only got worse. My supposed best friend chose a girl over me when I was trying to explain to my family what was going on. And like I said, school was different. Home never changed. A lot of my family didn't believe me, and I felt like I had no one to go to. But I was determined to graduate and start school. And I did. I did graduate. However, a price came with that. So after I graduated, my Nana wanted to send me up to Kentucky to live with a family friend. Now, keep in mind, I just graduated, I'm 19 years old, and I'm trying to find my way in the world, but like I said, Nana kept me isolated and made me feel like I had no authority or free will. So this is a 19-year-old doing what a grandmother says, even though I was an adult. And when I moved up to Kentucky, it wasn't all bad. I started to see the bright side of things. I was dating someone at the time. I still had certain friends, but then it got bad. A week into my staying up here, rumors kept floating around. I was trying to, the little brother I mentioned, actually it was a lot of grown women saying I was trying to do that too. It was December 2nd, 2016. The person I was dating with, the only person I felt like I had a fighting chance with, said, "I don't want to date you. You're too much drama, and you have nothing to come back to down here." That's the day I snapped and I broke Steve's promise. I started to make a lot of fake accounts, and I started harassing people. Now, some of you may be thinking, that's not, too bad, but here's the issue. With domestic violence, you ask someone on the road, what is domestic violence? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh, it's hitting someone. That's the thing. If you hit someone, it's going to heal. Coming from someone who was not only emotionally and mentally abused, but as someone who used to do it, these scars don't heal properly. At the time, it made sense. I was messaging people who hurt me, so I thought they were bad. I really thought I was doing the right thing. It happened for 2 years. I don't remember what all I said. What I do know is it wasn't good, and there was no excuse for it. I did not want to be good anymore because I thought I failed, and there was no going back. However, one thing that has stayed constant in my life is God. Now, even though I was an angry kid, I knew God existed. One of the many things my grandfather talked about was God. See, the beautiful thing about God is He knows who you are before you're even a thought. And He knows your plan. And sometimes that plan happens whether you want it to or not. So as I mentioned, I wanted to give up. I wanted to go back to 15-year-old Travis. Didn't care about people. All I wanted to do was hurt people and just not do this hero thing anymore. Until the family friend I mentioned that I stayed with, he had a cousin named Carly. Carly was 9 months pregnant with her daughter. And she had a little sister. She had a son named Sephiroth. Biggest ball of energy I've ever seen. He gives my ADHD a run for my money. And I started to talk to them, opening up to them. They started to become a second family, but I didn't want to stay because the last 2 families I tried to walk into, well, they threw me away like a bag of puppies. That wasn't until Anastasia was born. She was 5 days old. I held her. I don't know what happened. All I knew is holding her made me not want to give up. Now, granted, this was back when I first moved here, so I led a double life. By day, I was this nice family man. Night, I was internet troll. And, you know, this went on for a while. 5 months into me moving up there, you've heard me talk about Katie Flynn, my fiance. I met her at Walmart. She was at Walmart. She was on break at the McDonald's in the store, sipping on a frappe. I didn't know who was talking to me at the time, but I found out it was God, because God talked to me and said, go to her. Here's the thing. I'm socially awkward. I don't know how to talk to women or people in general. But Carly said, I'm going to go take Autumn to the bathroom and change her diaper. I used Seth as a wingman. And I walked up to her. I'm sweating. My pitch is sweating. My forehead's red. But I look at Seth and I go, can you tell the pretty lady I said hi? Now Katie looks at me and goes, talking to me? And I swear I had the biggest grin, and I go, who else would I be talking to? And then ever since then, we talked for a month. And then the preacher gave us a sermon about how life's too short. If God calls you to do something, do it now. I told Katie to call me ASAP. The minute she called, like I'm talking like millisecond, I was on the phone. I asked, you want to go out? Here we are, as of yesterday, 4 years later. And Bronson doesn't even know this, so it's a surprise to him. October 7th, 2022, we will officially be Mr. and Mrs. Whitworth. But let's step back to the past for a little bit longer. February 20th, 2018, I got served papers. So yes, I got served papers. The ex who broke up with me 2016 decided to take action with every right to do so. I was filed an EPO. At that moment, my secret to Katie was out. She goes, what's going on? I told her everything, all the accounts, all the things I said. I honestly expected to pack up my stuff and leave. Surprisingly, she didn't. She said the first time she saw me, she saw an angel, but the angel was trapped. She wanted to see me be this angel that God sent me to be. So I filed that EPO in a folder, and I started to take charge and be the person I know it could be. For the next 2 years, I did. I got my first apartment in October of 2018, and I started to look for schools for web development. In the Chattanooga video, I mentioned how I was hopefully starting a web dev career. I officially graduated BC Skills in Glasgow, Kentucky of 2020. So I am a certified web developer. And in 2019, I got saved. October 6th, 2019, I got baptized in the name of the Lord, and I proclaimed my service to Him. And then in 2020, I got my first car. Now, we all know what kind of a crazy year 2020 was. And due to craziness, my work decided to give me 3 days worth of paid vacation. Now, I got the papers in February of 2018. 2020 is when the papers expired. So I could freely visit home and not have to worry about bumping into her and then having the police come and get me. So I took it. I went for the 3 days. I filmed the Chattanooga video when I met up with Bronson there. I can honestly say I was so happy because I got into school, I had a car, I was quote unquote innocent in the eyes of the law, I was engaged to the most amazing woman on the planet who saw me for me. I was so happy. The day I filmed that Chattanooga video, bliss happy. Unfortunately, what became the happiest day of my life then became the worst. So, when I was driving to my grandmother's house, it was raining. I tried to do a sharp turn, ended up hydroplaning and crashing my car into a ditch. Thankfully, thanks to the good Lord, I wasn't hurt. Nothing wrong with me. My car may need a little bit of work, but it was fine. There was an off-duty cop that was behind me. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just need a bit of a tow, sir." I called my grandmother, let her know she was gonna come pick me up. The officer was just following procedure. He took my license, my registration, and then he ran through the system. What happened next was a big turning point in my life. He came back to the car and said, "Do you know there are 2 warrants out for you?" I said, "No, I didn't." He took me out of my car, handcuffed me, and drove away. I didn't know what those were for. The EPO was expired, so I know I didn't run into her. I sat in that jail for 7 hours until I was able to call Katie. Katie in turn called my grandmother, and she bailed me out. The EPO wasn't the only thing the ex filed. So I had 3 court dates set up, and during each court date they told me what I had to do, what I need to get done, and how to, not get in trouble. This is a turning point because I had 2 options. I'm not gonna lie and say I took it like a champ. I didn't. I was mad because I thought I was done with my past, ready to move on, and my past T-boned me. And so I could choose to be mad at her, lash out, and go back to old ways, or I can learn from everything that happened in my life and be better. I chose that way. I didn't give in to the dark side, and I chose to go to court, take these domestic violence classes, and be better. Now, I'm not going to talk to you and say I'm done, because I'm not. Life is an endless journey of trials. Reason I wanted to make this video is to show that when the odds are stacked against you, doesn't matter how weak you are, doesn't matter how old you are, it will never matter. You always have the chance to turn it around and be the best version of you. I'm very happy with what I've accomplished. These domestic violence classes are helping me with the scars I haven't dealt with. Me and Katie are a lot stronger as a couple because of it. Seth and Anna went from being a newborn 1-year-old to a 4-year-old and a soon-to-be 6-year-old. And they call me Uncle Travis, and it warms my heart every time they say it. And as mentioned, I went from being a fan of Bronson to someone I call a brother. I would literally take a bullet for this man. So, as I'm saying this, I have to go back to Bama soon. But, my journey isn't over. But you will never, ever be alone. It's not too late to turn a new leaf. As long as you have a good support group, you admit to that you're at fault for something, and you keep working on it. It's not easy. You are going to fall. But if you can get back up and scrape the dust off you and keep going, you are going to be fine. A sudden sense of doubt is an opportunity to be greater. So I want to thank Bronson for giving me the time to share my story on his channel. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listening to it. I want to thank Katie for always having faith in me despite my shortcomings, the family I've gained in Kentucky, and all the supporters I have for helping me be this. If you want proof that the dark side can be resisted and you can change, I'm living proof. True, a leopard can't change its spots, but it can change how it does things. Stay brawny, everyone. Have a blessed day.